People, welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk. I've got Spencer with me. How are you, Spencer?
I'm all right, and yourself?
I'm good. How are you,
That's
Tom?
good.
Doing exceedingly well. I hope both of you guys are.
That's good to hear.
Right, gentlemen, let's proceed with the... Right, the first fight we're going to talk about is the Batavia stops Adam Dean in 10 rounds. What did everybody watch this fight?
Yeah.
What were your
Thank you,
thoughts on it?
Spencer.
I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, is what we expected, but I'm just curious, do we think that Beterbiev could, like a couple of years ago, Beterbiev had this boogeyman persona. Does he still look like that now?
No. He looks a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well, I have something to say about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The
He was
first couple of
inactive.
rounds, well, he did, yeah. He was inactive. The first round, he did drop him. He hit him high on the head with the shot and dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was no pushover. The guy was very strong, and he also punched hard. It took him about four rounds for him to loosen up, it looked like. And then he started to go seek and destroy. He just kept pushing the guy, pushing him back. He did catch a few shots. His face was puffy and red at the end. You could see he had a couple of welts. But he looked so strong. He reminded me a bit of Rocky Marciano, the way he punches those short shots, and they just hurt. You could hear the body shots, how hard they sounded. And, he didn't hit the guy totally flush, but he knocked the guy out, on basically glancing blows.
Definitely he hits hard. He definitely hits hard.
And he has stamina. His stamina was great.
I want to see him, like, he does that against the guys that's like standing there taking them, gonna stand there and maybe get hit by him. I want to see how successful he would be against somebody like Bivol. I don't think it'll be any different with Joe Smith. I think Joe Smith will be standing there trying to trade with him, or try to overpower him, see if he's the stronger guy. But I think something like a Bivol fight might show us a little bit more of what Beterbiev got.
That would be a good matchup. That would be. Don't forget, this guy was a southpaw, so it was a little bit tougher for him to negotiate. But eventually, he closed the distance and just stayed on the guy.
I hate to break it to you guys, but Beterbiev is 36 now. He's getting towards that age where he's getting a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
He's got a couple of years left to unify the rest of the belts. I'm not sure he does it.
Like I say, he could probably beat Joe Smith if Joe Smith.
He would beat Joe Smith Jr. two ways: either knock him out or beat him on points. Joe Smith Jr. only beats him one way by knocking him out, and he won't be able to get to him. His boxing skill does not permit him to beat someone as good as that.
I think someone like Bivol, because of the movement.
Bivol would be
problems, but I don't know, man.
He handled Gosdick pretty well.
What was that?
I was saying he handled Gosdick pretty well, and Gosdick was a kind of like a mobile kind of fighter.
And he also was a good puncher.
Yeah, and he hit hard. So.
But that was like almost 2 years ago?
Yeah, I was just about to say that was like 2 years ago. So he
won the world title 3 years ago, didn't he?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, when he fought Kelling or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember who he beat, but the guy he beat wasn't that good.
Enrico Kelling, I think, after Ward vacated.
Kelling, sorry, that's
after Ward vacated the titles after beating Kovalev. Yeah,
he looked in great shape. It was just he looked timing wise a little bit off the first few rounds. Once he got warmed up, then he was just forcing the fight.
He was all up.
And he was forcing the fight. And Dean punched hard.
It could be that inactivity that he had to get into a rhythm. I mean, he caught him early, but he had to get into like a rhythm where he was definitely taking over the fight.
Right.
So, like, if his next fight, because that's the other thing about him, he doesn't fight that often.
Right. Well, who wants to fight him? That's another thing. Nobody wanted to fight him when he was coming up, really.
Been
Right.
champion 3.5 years now, which is a long time. But obviously, the pandemic we've had, is like you say, he's been inactive.
But yeah.
But not only that. Look who he could fight. He could fight Pascal. He could fight Krasinski. These guys. I mean, Pascal. I think he'll just bomb Pascal out.
Yeah, Pascal's vulnerable. Yeah, very much.
But you got to think also of who he's aligned with and how easy it will be to get a fight. Like, he's with Top Rank, I think, right? And he's not. So that's why they'll probably set up a Joe Smith fight next. It's just easier to make. Bivol's with the Zone, Pascal, Marcus Brown, all those guys are with Al Heyman. So that's not as easy as that to get those fights done.
Who is Smith with? I forget.
He with Bob Arum, Top Rank. He fighting with ESPN.
The WBO is vacant right now. The title, right?
Yeah, that's what
he's fighting.
That's what Joe Smith. Yeah, he's fighting Axel Blasov or something. They had to reschedule it. So.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he needs to fight more now before he gets any older. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he needs to make money. That's why he's calling out Canelo, but Canelo's not going to go up to fight him.
No.
Canelo knows he's too small for that division.
And he got 2 more fights. Like, if he was going to fight somebody, it might be like a Pascal or somebody to get his title. But I don't think he'll fight somebody like Turbia. Maybe fight Joe Smith. Maybe
Bivol if he comes to 168, but that would be in Canelo's favor.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you want to move on?
Yeah, right. Next, Britain keeps the trend of cruiserweight champions. Lawrence Okoli destroys Glowacki fight in 6 rounds. Great performance.
We did. I thought we talked about this, but
we haven't talked about it. No.
I don't know why I thought we did.
Well, it was before the fight we talked about it.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Solid performance.
1-2. Long right hand, fights off the front foot, knows how to throw off the front foot, gets a lot of power.
He called out Breedis after the fight. He said he wanted to fight Breedis. People talking about him fighting. What was that for? The WBO, right?
Yeah, WBO.
I think it was the South African dude from, that's the WBC champ.
Ulinga Makabu.
Yeah, I think they trying to see, like, he could possibly beat that guy. Breedis and Dorticus, I think would definitely be 2 more good fights. It's like around the same type of test of Glowacki, but just to see if Glowacki was past it. Dorticus is a hard hitter. I think he hits a little bit harder than Glowacki.
I have to be honest, he's 6'5", mate. He's got a massive reach. He's never been with those people that can actually land him. It's because we've never seen anyone good enough to land shots on him. If he fights
what about
the guys, they'll land him.
What about Gulamarian? He's a champ. He's the whatchamacallit.
Who's the IBO champion? I forget who the
He's the WBA champ. He's WBA
Meridian, yeah.
Gulamarian.
I think he beats Makabu comfortably. Very comfortably. Makabu hasn't got a great chin.
I think some of the guys that was in the Super Series might give him a little bit of trouble. I mean, not trouble, but because that was, what's it called? Like I was saying before, Dorticus is a hard hitter. What's the other guy I said? Breedis is another one that would be.
Marius Breedis,
those would be some good tests for him.
But he struggled a little bit to make the weight limit.
So you think
he may be going up?
Yeah, he might be going up.
But
he's it soon.
He says he
That's his
might be
aspirations.
the Bridgerweight top.
Yeah, he might be up there next. Who knows?
He could
We'll
fight
see.
those guys, get him a little bit more experience. Because, that could test him for heavyweights. If he fight guys like Jennings, Rivas, and is successful, then, that would be a good preparation to go up and fight the better heavyweights, but not the top of the level. Like, I don't think he'll be ready for Fury in a couple of fights or AJ in a couple of fights. But
he's starting to remind me of another British fighter from many years ago, a man named David Hay. But I don't think he's as hard a hitter or as talented as what David Hay was. Would you agree with that? Or
I don't think so. Not at this point, anyway. How old is?
He's 28. By this age, David Hay was world champion at 27 at heavyweight. He was cruiserweight champion at 25. David Hay.
Well, don't forget one thing. When we talk about age with some of these fighters, it's the amount of fights too, as opposed to the age. A lot of these guys haven't fought 30, 40, 50 fights.
Hay was something special. Hay was more athletically gifted than this guy. I think the cruiserweight division is weaker since Garcia and Usyk left.
And you got also take into consideration that a lot of the guys nowadays, their amateur career isn't as long either.
Right.
So they don't have, like you was just adding to
it. Had a 10-year amateur career.
They don't have that many miles on the in the tank at 28. If say like guys traditionally get past at 28, they gotta make their mark because that's their time. If they blow it, then.
But if you look at Cody and say he's going to be the next world heavyweight champion, you'd really have to, not so sure. It's too early to tell.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
All right, you want to move on?
Yeah. All right, Virgil Ortiz knocks out Maurice Hooker. Good performance.
Well, we expected a knockout. I did, but I didn't expect him to break his hand or his arm. What did he do? Did he dislocate his elbow, or did he break his arm, or what? He broke something.
That's not really. That might be the start. Ortiz, you saying?
No, Ortiz didn't. Hooker did.
Hooker broke his hand in the fight during the fight.
Yeah, something happened. I think he dislocated his elbow and broke his hand.
Yeah. I did see that he had there was an excuse on him being injured or something like that.
Well, yeah, you saw it in the fight. He hit the guy and then he went down on his knee and his arm was hanging.
What you think it was it was a hand. It wasn't like a dislocated shoulder or nothing like this.
No, he broke his hand. But if you watch the fight, after he caught him, he went down and he was like in pain in his hand. At least that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I seen the highlights of this one. I ain't see the full fight. Ortiz is, he's as an advertiser, I suppose, a hard hitting guy. Hooker, when I think it was us talking about it, when you think about it, the fight, Hooker was kind of made for this guy, as far as style wise, because of the trouble, like the guys that he had faced and lost to or had troubles with was guys that you could see Ortiz capitalizing on their success a little bit better than they did.
Don't get me wrong, I think Ortiz is a great fighter, but Maurice Hooker's, middle of the road.
Maurice Hooker came up in weight for this too.
I know he did, yeah.
He came up
middle of the road.
I mean, he was really too big for 140 anyway, but
he was an
out. No, without question, he's a decent name to have on your resume for Ortiz in this stage of his career. Like, you wouldn't expect Ortiz to be glorifying a victory over Hooker if Ortiz is like a 2 or 3 belt champion at this moment.
Hooker's never going to win a world title again unless he has a tremendous amount of luck.
Yeah, he got to go for one of the world titles or something. The WBA world.
I'd like to see Crawford in with Ortiz. I think that would be a good fight. Any of them. I mean, Spence with him, that would be great. Although I think those guys would eat him up.
I think it'll be a good fight with the two up and coming dudes. I mean, I can't call them prospects; they're contenders. Ortiz versus Innis.
Yeah, yeah. Innis, yeah. Okay, I like Innis.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. I think that would be a
That
good
would
one.
be. I think they're going to push Ortiz fast forward as they can. You know what I'm saying?
And if just from if I've got my promoter's hat on, right?
Okay,
I
go
would
for it.
love to. I would love to have the Ortiz because they're not big enough now to really like stage a big fight, but they have the potential to create a buzz with their fights. You see Innis fight, you see Ortiz fight. They're exciting fights. They're exciting fighters. So to see, it's like to have them like have Innis fight all of the guys. I guess I hate to say this term, but have all of the guys that's like on his side of the street, all of the prospects and the gatekeepers and all of that, have them run through them.
You call Ortiz, what I'm going to say now is a bit wrong. He's a poor man's Danny Garcia to me when I look at him. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
with his quality.
No, he's getting better.
Yeah.
He's getting better. You know what I think that Top Rank may want to do is put him in with Pacquiao.
That's not good.
Ortiz is a what's it called? Ortiz is Top Rank?
Poor man's Danny Garcia.
Wait, Ortiz is Top Rank? I thought he was Golden Boy.
He's with Golden Boy.
I'm not sure.
He's with Golden Boy.
He's Golden Boy. Oh, okay. Forget it then.
I know he called out Bud Crawford and all of that,
Right.
but I think he's with Golden Boy. And
But I'm saying I'd like to see that. That would be a match that could be dangerous for Pacquiao too.
Mikey Garcia versus Ortiz.
Yeah. Garcia doesn't want to come up to 147 though, I don't think, unless it's for Pacquiao.
And yeah. And he could Ortiz. I mean, there's a lot of fights that I just wish they could work. All these guys could work together. That especially with the nice divisions like 147, 135. But Ortiz could fight like 80s? Like Ortiz could fight like at this moment he could fight. Is Vargas still at 147? Because I'm hearing him entertain 154, but Jesse Vargas.
Yeah, I think he's
maybe he could fight a Granadas. Maybe he could fight a Granadas. Ortiz, did he fight Granadas? No, he didn't fight Granadas.
I don't think so.
Maybe he could fight a Adrian Granadas. Like I said, Vargas, Ray Robinson. This dude, I would say AB, but AB ain't gonna want to lose to him.
No,
it ain't gonna be enough money for him.
He's trying to get down to 140 again.
Right, guys, let's move on.
Or possibly one of those dudes, if he could fight, if Taylor and Ramirez, whoever wins that moves up, they could fight Ortiz on their first move up fight. That'd be a good one too.
We've got the Dillian White Povetkin card to discuss briefly.
Oh, yes. What do you think? Is it going to be a repeat or not?
This is the thing that is crazy. I was saying, Povetkin had COVID, had to recover from COVID. He's like a year older, and he's not going to be fighting at home. Like he's been away from home or whatever. So like he has all the disadvantages. Dillian White should win this. He should win this.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, I mean, he had the advantages last time too, but Povetkin's older now, and Dillian White swore that it was the lucky shot that Povetkin threw. It's like Povetkin's a trained damn professional. He timed you for that shot.
Let's look at also this way. How is his punch resistance now after being decked the way he was decked? He's been decked.
Povetkin's punch resistance ain't going to be great either. Neither's White's. I think White's is probably worse.
Well, let's look at it this way. Who's the more skilled boxer?
Povetkin.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Now, Povetkin, you say, had these disadvantages of not being home, but that's an advantage because he has less Distractions.
Aging is.
No, without question, he has less distractions as far as like being at home. That there's always you could, is a pro and a con to it. Like you got a little bit more comfortable, you're familiar with the surroundings, your gym, like that works on your favor with being at home or being at your home.
I'm going to be honest.
You know what? Go ahead.
I'm going to go for Povetkin to win because I think.
Me too.
I don't know why. I'm
No.
feeling it's going to be repeated.
I think so too.
I'm
I'm with you. I think we all in agreement on that one.
The only reason I'm saying is because I think there's a bit of Dillian White that's scared. I don't think he should take this immediate rematch. I think he should have fought someone else, just to protect his marketability. If he loses, his marketability slumps to the bottom. He has to start again.
He's going to be gun shy, man.
And he's not going to be paid for you anymore. He's going to be.
Yeah, think about it. He has hit the canvas quite a lot, Dillian White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if he gets through this and wins, there's no guarantee that he can beat anyone in the top 10 or 15. He's going to have to be careful with his opponents, even if he does win this. In the future, not
take a page. Take a page from Joseph Parker, man. Really.
No, forget Wilder, forget those guys. He's not on that level, and it's been proven now.
I mean, listen, right? You're right, but from a business perspective and trying to get the most out of things, he should go for Wilder because it's only a matter of time before he loses. So he might as well lose getting his ass kicked for millions than lose getting his ass kicked for thousands.
Some money, yeah.
If he wins,
some money.
He could get Josh. He could get one if he does win this fight. He could get one of the vacant belts that become available. But I'm surprised he's gone this route. He should have gone the Trevor Bryan route. I really believe that that's the only way he's going to win a world title is if he goes that kind of route, the WBA route.
But
he can't lose this fight. If he loses this fight, his marketability.
After this fight, but would it surprise you if they made an offer to Trevor Bryan, say, look, here's $1 million, come over to England and fight Joshua? And fight White. I think they would do that.
Why do you think that they would? First of all, why do you think that fight would sell like that, where they could just?
Because it's got a world title attached to it. Anything with a world title, the British public, whenever there's a world title attached to it, they'll all buy it. That's what they're like.
You guys don't respect that one. Y'all think AJ.
No, but some people do. The minute they see a world title, they think, yeah, here's a world title. Yeah, I'm being truthful. Titles.
Listen, it's no guarantee he could beat Bryan either. So
yeah, Trevor Bryan is nothing special. He really isn't anything special, Trevor Bryan.
I mean, and neither is Dillian White. So,
well, I think Dillian White's a bit better than Trevor Bryan. I mean, 11 rounds.
It's possible because Dillian White, sure enough, has better names on his resume than Trevor Bryan. He's been around with better names.
Beat an old Stavern who could barely walk to the ring, without getting out of breath. Shocking.
Well, we still got Joe Joyce in the picture.
Yeah, plus he got to be able to get that thing. When he was fighting Povetkin, he was the interim champ, so he was no longer ranked by any of the other organizations.
But to be honest,
so he couldn't get a fight with nobody else.
I'd pick Joe Joyce to beat Dillian White, to be honest. Seriously, I would.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Dillian is only where he is because of clever matchmaking and disguising. And people's ages and how shot there. I mean, obviously he beat Parker because Parker just come off a loss. Rivas is a cruiserweight. Blown at cruiserweight.
He beat Parker because they gave him an extra knockdown that wasn't supposed to be a knockdown.
Yeah, exactly. And he beat Rivas because Rivas is a blown up cruiserweight, basically.
He's a bridgerweight.
Rivas puts a
bridgerweight.
That's right, and he put some hurt on him.
Uh-huh.
You know,
He fought Rivas because who did Rivas just beat? Jennings?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came off of a win over Jennings, and that's for whatever reason.
Yeah, because they thought he looked bad. He didn't look. Rivas didn't look great in that fight. He was losing that fight. They knocked him out in the last round. So Rivas is a very good fighter.
Yeah,
I mean,
we saw his last fight.
He's undersized. He's undersized, in my opinion. That's all.
He's just not big.
Nah, he's a bad fight. Right. He's
just not big enough.
And him going to Bridgerweight was a smart decision for him.
And he's too muscly as well. Rivas is too muscly.
Got to always be careful with the Cubans.
Yeah,
it's very tough.
Girls. Sorry.
You want to move on?
Yeah, there's some more fights on this card, or do you want to move on?
What else is on this card? Oh, that's right.
Ricky Hatton
on this card, right?
No, that's a different card.
That's the Chisora card.
That's the Joseph Parker. But we've got Ricky Hatton's son making his debut at super featherweight. You got Fabio Wardley, a British heavyweight, against Eric Molina, which is a fight.
Oh yeah. Wardley should win that.
Yeah, and then you've got Chris Conga, Ted Cheeseman against James Metcalf. That should be a good fight.
Cheeseman puts up a good fight usually.
Yeah. I mean, because the people that they match him with is around his level.
Yeah,
most of the time.
But he's still getting better. He's still getting better.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll be rooting for Cheeseman.
He's all right. He's not going to get much further than European level.
Yeah, probably not. But I still, go for it.
Yeah, he goes for it. He's fun to watch.
And then, who else is on this card? Let me have a look who else is on this card before we move on. You've got, I don't know him. Yeah, no, there's nothing really else of any note. Let me have a look. The notes of what else? Right. We've got Amanda Serrano fighting Bermudas. This is for the WBC, WBO, and IBF female featherweight titles.
Is this the last one on that series? Because they was having
This is a different card. This is a card in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. They've been having a series of fights over the last few weeks. I don't know if you noticed, but every Thursday night they've been having a fight on NBC.
This is it. It's on NBC. Yes, it is. USA NBC network.
Amanda Serrano was American. Network.
Yeah, she's the record title holder for the most divisions as a female. She's the Manny Pacquiao of lady boxing.
Yeah, she was also a mixed martial artist too. She was in the Octagon, right?
Yeah, she fought in there.
She's badass.
I don't think she fought in UFC. I think she fought in like Bellator or something like that. I don't think it was UFC, but still, she crossed over. And that's what I would love to see her fight Katie Taylor.
That would be a great fight.
In terrible news, Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Chris Arreola is $49 on pay-per-view.
Wow,
it's $50.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I mean, truth be told, I think it's just crazy that they put that on pay-per-view. But I do want to see.
They did. Wait a minute. What did you say, Spencer? You think it's crazy? What?
That they're putting this on pay-per-view. However, I do want to see the Laura fight that is going to be on the undercard.
Yes.
Because this one got moved to May 1st.
Laura should be able to handle this guy. Laura should be able to handle him pretty easy. I watched the guy fight.
Are you talking about
Laura's class? Yeah, he's not his opponent.
Ain't this his first time at 160, or he?
Yeah, this should be his. I think it's his first time at 160.
This is middleweight debut.
Doesn't make any sense is that we already have an interim champion, and his name is Chris Eubank Jr. Yet, how does this man go up a weight and join the queue? Is it because he was a WBA champion at the weight down before?
Wait, what is this for?
160.
For what title though?
WBA regular title.
It's the WBA World?
Yeah, when Eubank's the interim.
Who is Eubank about to fight?
Some guy called Maurice, who is a British stunt level guy. That's
for
probably
what?
why.
I'm trying to figure out, like, why would this fight be for the world and Eubank has the world unless he's fighting for another title or something?
Eubank's not fighting for a title in his next fight.
Eubank is the interim middleweight champion.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the interim.
Yeah. And the Japanese guy is the super or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. He just got moved up, Murata.
Murata. Golovkin's the IBF, and Andrade is the WBO, and Charlo's the WBC.
Right.
So those are all good opponents. Those are all good opponents for each other. Those are all good fights. Anybody match anybody in those four is a good one, including Chris Eubank if you throw him in the mix.
The WBA regular.
And if you add Laura to the mix, like Murata, Charlo, Triple G, Andrade, Eubank, and Laura, that's a nice little Super 6 tournament they could have right there.
Yeah, and don't forget, Canelo is the franchise champion of the middleweights in the WBC.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that. Yup, he's the franchise. He's not going back down to 164.
Nah, he doesn't want any part of Golovkin or Charlo.
No, or Andrade. Seemed like.
Nope.
As Terrence Crawford says. Yo, Terrence Crawford getting a hell of heat saying that.
That's right. He always.
I'm like, yo, boxers aren't the smartest people in the world. So if y'all looking at them to say some wise words of wisdom, then y'all fools waiting on it. But every so often you'll hear an Ali guy come across the screen. But for the most part, these guys are fighters. They had chosen a profession where they voluntarily getting punched in the face. They're not always the
only in America.
Einsteins.
Only in
America.
And I'm still a promoter. Yeah.
They're not the sharpest tools in the shed, right?
Right.
He's saying he avoids black fighters.
Only in America.
He's saying Canelo Alvarez avoids black fighters.
Right. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, I get what he might have been trying to say. Like, since the Floyd fight, he doesn't fight the black fighters. Now,
is he talking about American black fighters? Wait a minute. Lara was black, and what's his name? The Southpaw champion was black. Trout. Trout. He fought Austin Trout.
That was during that Floyd time. That's what I like.
James Kirkland. He fought James Kirkland.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's talking about slick guys, he fought Danny Jacobs like 2-3 fights ago.
Yeah, it's like, so what is he talking about?
And Danny Jacobs, and truth be told, Danny Jacobs, as far as tools and skills wise, he's a ambidextrous fighter because he could fight from both sides. He had a little power because he was knocking out people, but he can also box a little bit. Winning Golden Glove tournaments and shit like that when he was an amateur. So like he had a well-rounded thing. So like Bud is bucking. Now, maybe it's his association with Bob Arum that has him thinking like this. I don't know, but Bud is wrong. I got hella heat because I said, yo, sometimes black people be seeing racism everywhere because they dealt with it so much that they see it everywhere. And that just might be a case with Bud Crawford. Like, no one can say that Canelo don't fight black fighters because he has a few on his resume. But then they
were world champions. They were world champions.
I mean, Mosley, Trout, Laura, Floyd. Floyd is a loss, but still he got Floyd. He got, as you said, Kirkland, Jacobs. And he was supposed to fight Paul Williams before Paul Williams got in an accident. So,
I mean, that's just crazy, It's just controversy. He's maybe trying to help his friend Charlo get the fight. Whatever.
I also was going to say, people are saying that Bud needs to speak up more. Maybe they might not want to have him speak up more.
Oh, yeah.
Because that used to be the gripe with some people like, Right. People be like, yo, he needs to be more vocal and say more stuff. And that's the reason why he don't sell, because people want to hear people, people like to get but he's like, he's too humble.
Keep the mic away from Bud. Don't give him the mic.
Yeah, like because the stuff that people were saying, like, Bud, what they say, Canelo got more black fighters on his resume than Bud does. I'm like, no, he don't. Now y'all extreme because y'all mad at what Bud said. Now y'all gonna tear down Bud. Bud got a bunch of black fighters on his resume. He got Derry John, he got Delorme, he got Hank Lundy, he got Felix Diaz, he got Kell Brook just recently.
I don't think he ducks anybody. The thing is, Crawford doesn't duck anybody. It's hard for him to get, these big money fights because the elite fighters don't want to fight him.
Exactly. The money ain't there for them to take that ass whipping. Because Bud Crawford has, like, who they say was his best test going into the fight, he embarrassed them. When he fought Gamboa, Gamboa was supposed to be his toughest test up to that point. He embarrassed. Gamboa gave him a little something for the first couple of rounds, but then it was over. He did,
the speed did. But that's usual with Bud in the first couple of rounds. He feels you out. And then about the third round, he starts. Yeah.
He reminds me of Floyd in that way. Like, he adjusts to what you're doing, and he beats you at what you're trying to do.
We've run out of time, guys. We've only got 30 seconds left, so.
No!
Oh, wow, that was.
Do you want me to set up another line?
You can.
It's up to you guys.
We can talk again. We can add a bit more to the show. Okay.
I gotta leave it. I gotta leave it like 10. But.
We might as well wrap it up then.
We'll wrap it up. Okay. We'll be back on Friday. So do you want to do it?
All right.
All right. We'll be back Friday.
Serrano. Let's go, Serrano.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.